Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. This is Lisa Nichols, and the masterclass today is all about how money beliefs can lead to procrastination and what you can do about it. And so let me tell you what I'm going to cover today. I am going to talk about what procrastination is, how do we know if we have money beliefs that are sabotaging us, what that looks like, what's beneath it, and then we will do some tapping on money beliefs that cause procrastination. So, Jeff, have you done tapping before? Have you heard of it before?
No.
Oh,
No.
cool. Okay, yeah, I love introducing some people to EFT tapping. So I'll explain what EFT tapping is too when we get closer to it. So let me start first, though, with just a little tiny bit about me, which I am a transformation coach. I work primarily with women in business, and I help them basically overcome whatever obstacles are in their way. And that can include not knowing how to do something, but it also includes their thinking and their beliefs and how they end up stopping themselves from truly knowing and acting from their own inner vision and wisdom. And I do that a lot of that through EFT tapping. And so I'm a former corporate person. I was in corporate vice president of a large bank for 10 years. I'm a former journalist. I'm also a Reiki master. And I'm certified in EFT tapping and an advanced form called matrix reimprinting. So I'm a native California. I did live in Wisconsin when I went to grad school, and that's the only time I've ever lived outside of California. And yes, it was cold there. I want to talk about how do we know if we have money beliefs that are sabotaging us. And I'm going to give you one way I know, and that is I have a decision hangover. Whenever I have to make some kind of big decision around money, I resist it. I feel it in my body that I don't want to have to make this decision. And then when I do make a decision, like to spend a lot of money, I always have like what I call a decision hangover. I always want to walk it back. I want to see if I can cancel it. I I question my decision-making abilities. I really feel it. And so if you have physical signs in your body, you may actually just check out is another way that you might know. Like if you are trying, you know that it's time to make some kind of financial decision or take some kind of action on your finances, you really may have physical reactions or you may just check out. And procrastination in general, it basically means putting off what you could do today to tomorrow, even when you know very well could be a negative consequence from putting it off. And especially when it comes to finances, you can really end up with some major consequences, and you may not even understand why. You don't even know why, because it's because you've got these beliefs that underlie the procrastination that trigger you to want to do anything other than the thing you need to do. I mean, a lot of people do procrastination cleaning, what I call procrastination cleaning. And it's like, that's pretty bad when you'd rather clean a toilet than take the action that you know you need to take in your business or in your personal finances. And so I'm going to go ahead and say some statements of some money beliefs, and maybe you guys can just jot down the ones that you're like, yep, I believe that. That is true for me. Let's see. Okay, so here's the first one, and it's an obvious one. So many people still believe this, which is real work is hard work. In other words, you have to work hard for your money. The second one is, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to work as hard as it would be required to have money. The third one is, I'm too old to work that hard. Fourth one is, rich people suck. or they're jerks, or you can't trust them. Another one is other people have money, not me. So you can see other people having money, but you just can't see it for yourself. Here's a basic one. I'm not good with money. This is one I heard a lot growing up. Everything is too expensive. Next one is it's not safe to have a lot of money or to do well. Something bad will happen. It's like you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's not okay to want more. It's selfish or greedy. This one I think is, I think people believe this, but it's hard for them to believe they believe this because they know their family wants the best for them, but our family sets our income thermostat. If our thermostat is set at 68 degrees and we want it to be 72, we may raise it up to 72, but the thermostat is going to bring it right back down to 68. And we'll end up doing all kinds of things to make sure that we're at 68 again. But the belief underneath it is it's not okay to make more money than my father, mother, siblings, just my family. And the last one I'll say, because there's many, many more, but here's the last one I'll say for now is others need it more than I do. So did you guys find some that rung a bell for you? Yeah. It's funny because if we look at these from our brains, from a logical standpoint, we know it's not true. We know they're not true. Like everything is too expensive. Not everything is. We know that to be true. And there's ways to find things that are not as expensive. And sometimes it's worth buying things that are expensive for the quality, et cetera. We know that in our brains, but in our bodies, in the cells of our bodies and in our hearts and belief systems and the limbic system of our brains, we believe it to be true. And that's what really drives us. It's not what we think in our heads, but all the underlying beliefs and thought patterns and emotional triggers that we garnered from living life the way that we live life. And so what these money blocks can do is paralyze us, and they can make us make decisions around our finances that aren't as smart as they could be. In fact, it can make us make decisions almost in opposition of our own best interests. And we don't even know why. So because we're really seriously not thinking straight. When we have these beliefs and emotional triggers in our brains from childhood experiences or even young adult experiences, whenever they happened, it disconnects the frontal cortex, and where we're really thinking and living from is from that limbic system, which is the amygdala and the hippocampus and all of that, which is where our stored memory is. And the amygdala in particular is where we have our fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses. It's our survival mechanism in our brain. That's where our brain is trying to keep us safe, not knowing that it's actually limiting us in our enjoyment and ability to embrace life wholeheartedly. And that includes not having issues around money and being able to take action around money and finances promptly and timely, and not wait until there's a crisis. So part of that, like closing down our brain, is closing off being able to see opportunities to have and make more money. We don't even see them. They're there, but because we have these beliefs, like hard work is money, it takes hard work. So if we found a way that was actually simple to make money, we wouldn't believe it and we just skip right by it. In fact, if you guys have that belief, are you right now thinking there is no easy way to make money? Like right now, does it like make you go, it's not possible? So, so what does it look like when you have these underlying money beliefs? Well, of course, it has to do with lower income. And let me give an example. If you believe that you don't deserve having more money, if you have, if your family, set point, mine was, my grandparents were farmers and they never really had much money. My grandmother, the last few years of her life, lived on $400 worth of Social Security every month. That was it. That's all she had. And it was just assumed that we were poor. We were always going to be poor. And so when it comes to making good money, like I can't, at a certain point, I can't see myself making $500,000 a year. That just is like, doesn't compute because I have this family ancestral history of we make do, we're able to live on a small amount of income, et cetera. Ballooning card debt or other debt, that's another thing that can happen. You also have feast and famine modes. I talked about you have this set point, and if let's say your financial situation starts to improve and then it's beyond your set point, and so you're going to do something to make it come back, you will literally, without knowing it, sabotage yourself. I have a family member that is excellent at everything she does. Seriously, she'll just pick something up and she can do it. And she'll just be like this far from success, and she'll change her mind and go start something new. And her dad was the same way. Her dad was brilliant and could not be successful to save his life. There were times when he would be close. And then, it doesn't have to be, you have to like change your mind. You could also get in an accident. Sometimes people don't know that the accidents that they have or the illnesses that they get are themselves sabotaging themselves so that they can't move past where their beliefs have them at. I knew a lady that, honest to goodness, every time I talked to her, there was some new drama in her life. Every single time, like her son having his car broken into or his computer being stolen. And so she had to rush and go save him. She was the savior. So because she was a savior, she was always having things happen in her life that she had to go save people from. And that meant she couldn't focus and stay focused and follow through on commitments and become successful. She was always leaving to go help someone else out. So things will happen in your life without you even knowing that you're sabotaging yourself. So let's see, other things. Oh, not being willing to take any risks on finances, like staying safe, or the opposite, which is taking too many risks, not having enough discernment to figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for you, not for the person you're talking to, et cetera. And this is a big one, not being able to say no. This has been one of my things that I've learned how to do it, but it was terrible for me for a really long time. Anytime anyone would ask me about buying their product or their service, I felt I didn't have a right to say no. Like I couldn't hurt their feelings, or it just, I don't even still know exactly what I was trying to not do, but I just would somehow find a way to say yes. And I actually relied on my husband a lot of times to say no. And then, I've recently just found out how to do that. And someone wanted me to be in her coaching program, and she has the wrong energy for me. She's like a bling, 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 oh, high energy, yay kind of person. I am not. And I explained it to her. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, that's bad, and I go, no, that's perfect for the people who connect with you, who love that kind of high energy stuff. It's just not me. And I didn't feel bad. I was just able to say it, no charge, no challenge. And that, on any of these money beliefs that you have, that's where you want to get to, is being able to like have no charge around it. Okay. It's a little bit around. Okay. So unhelpful attitudes towards debt and saving. So, that set point on your income, you also have a set point on your debt. If you grew up with a lot of debt and little savings, you're going to have a certain set point on that again. So that if you end up, let's say you have $30,000 in savings and that seems weird to you, you will all of a sudden have big expenses that you have to pay out of your savings or on your credit card. If you all of a sudden you pay off your credit card debt, unless you work on your beliefs, you're going to turn around and just have the credit card debt pile up again. I actually have a client right now who her dad was very much feast or famine. He was in stocks and bonds, and it was her stepdad. And right after her mom and dad and him got married, they were really happy. They had a couple of years, and then he lost everything, and they had to move to another country, or they moved to another country that just completely disrupted her life. And then when he had money again, they moved back to the States. And then, so it was this up and down. And so she's finding herself right now in that she swore to herself she'd never have that level of debt like her father did. She's right back to having a level of debt that's very uncomfortable for her. And it's just, like I said, if we go below or above our set point, unless we really become aware and work on these beliefs, we're going to go right back to our set point. So not being able to hold on to money is another way that it can show up. So, like I said, like with the $30,000, or there's lots of people who have good income and yet they never have money. And that's because it feels comfortable. It's familiar. It's what they know to be the right way to live their life, not in their brain, but in their body and in their belief system. So there's lots of other things around that. Let's see, let me just make sure I've covered everything I want to around that. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so okay. That's what it looks like in terms of money. But what it looks like in terms of behavior or actions. Procrastination is a big one, and we're going to talk about that one. But there's other things that happen because of your money beliefs. And for example, you can have difficulty asking for a sell if you have your own business. If you believe that, this is interesting. I hadn't thought of it this way before, but if you believe it's hard, money takes hard work, and you're just asking somebody to buy your service or your product, that almost seems like too easy. Like someone says, oh, yeah, sure, I'll sign up for your $2,000 coaching program, or yeah, sure, I'll buy your $200 product. That's just like, what? You just gave me money. That's too easy. But there's lots of other beliefs, like not liking to be seen. If you had an experience when you were younger, like for example, if you were in a classroom and your teacher held up your work and said, you know what, this is exactly how I told you guys not to do it, and humiliated or embarrassed you in front of the class, that's going to give you the belief that it's dangerous or unsafe to be seen. And so when it comes to being the front of your business, or even if you're an employee, being in front of an employer and asking for money, you don't feel safe. You're like, danger, danger, Will Robinson thing going, it's not safe to be seen. And I shouldn't ask for anything, because then people see me and then they'll embarrass me and I'll die. I mean, literally, that's what your brain is thinking. So difficulty asking for a sell, difficulty being seen. You convince yourself that you have time. And this is a big one for younger people around savings. They're like, oh, we got time. I'm only 27. Oh, I'm only 38. Oh, I'm only 44. And they don't realize just how quick retirement comes. And so it's really easy just to say, I've got plenty of time. And the thing about procrastination is it is short-term release of discomfort or fear or uncertainty in place of long-term gain. Like that whole thing of my future self will thank me. We rarely think that. Instead, we're thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to screw up. It's going to take too much time. Someone's going to judge me. I mean, someone's going to criticize me. So I'd rather just not do this thing right now. I'll do it later. That's what procrastination is. And with finances, a lot of it has to do with I don't know enough about money. I'm not good with money. I've made dumb mistakes in the past. I'll probably make them now. It's a lot of self-doubt. It's a lot of worthiness issues. And it's a lot of I can't think of the right word, kind of the aura around money, like like money is this thing. And it seems so overwhelming. That's what it is, the overwhelm around money. So you but now, okay, so we talked a little bit about procrastination, what it is, what it shows up with. And so I have a quiz. And I built this quiz on my own experience with procrastination over the years. And I found out that just thinking about all the things that I did for why I procrastinated, I came up with 16 different reasons. And it doesn't even include some of them. But fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of making a mistake, fear of making the wrong decision. All those were fears that I had. The fear of judgment was especially big for me because when it's excessive, it becomes social anxiety disorder. And I had to heal from social anxiety disorder. And then there's also overwhelm, rebellion, which not a lot of people think about that. Like if you had controlling parents, or if you had neglectful parents, or other things that can happen that basically made you think, well, if I'm not going to be liked for who I am, or if I can't do anything right anyway, I might as well just do what I want, which sounds like a teenager thing, but some of us do bring that into adulthood. And it can sabotage so many things, our relationships. Like, if you already plan on unloading the dishwasher and then your significant other says, will you unload the dishwasher? And you're like, no. And you rebel against it, even though you were already going to do it, but you just can't stand the thought of anyone telling you what to do. It can really hurt your relationships big time in money, because there are expectations and rules and cultural conditioning around money that can make you want to be a rebel around it. It can impact how you are at work, which impacts your ability to get raises or new clients or whatever it is. So rebellion's a big thing. And then the last part of my little quiz thingy are self-beliefs. I'm talking away, you guys, and we'll get to the tapping, I promise. And the 5 that I put in there, these are all things that I believed. No one understands me. I don't deserve better. Nothing ever changes. Oh no, I have to remember what they are now. I'm not capable, and I have to stay the same. Like, I have to be the person that other people think that I am, that I can't step outside of those boundaries. And so after having done a lot of work on all these different beliefs, I really am not a procrastinator anymore. And that includes the finances and my work, my business, my family. I just had Easter, and at 8:00 on Easter morning, I was slicing strawberries for a salad that wasn't going to be eaten until 3:00. And in the past, that would have never happened. I would have been at 2:55, still slicing my strawberries. And it just feels so wonderful. It feels so different in my body and just in my brain. It literally opens my mind up so I see solutions in a way that I never was able to before, because I addressed those underlying beliefs and uncomfortableness that had to do with procrastination. And so one of the reasons I'm excited about this topic today is because I still have some money beliefs that I need to work on around, and it's getting better around money for sure. But there's still some signs that I still have some limiting beliefs, and I want to address them for sure. So not only am I showing you guys how to do it, I'm going to do it for myself as well. So, okay, so I have just like chatted, gone from here to here to here. So I want to stop and open it up and ask, is there any questions or anything you guys want to follow up on? Anything you'd like to, get more information on, anything like that?
Yeah, a couple things. Well, procrastination, that's what my huge issue is. I've always been go, go, go. And I had a really good job before I moved here to Southern California with my boyfriend, which is now my husband. And it's like, I feel he goes to work, he busts his tail, he'll set goals, he'll accomplish them. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like the one that does laundry. And I'll look at the laundry basket. There's 2 of them in the bedroom. They're full of clothes. Go fold them. You know what I think my main problem is social media gets in the way. And I think that that's just the babysitter of mankind. So that's one thing I need to tackle is social media. And the other thing, you said something about money, like I can't recall your exact words, but when we hold on to money and we don't want to let go of it or whatever, I don't think that I have that issue. And I do have the belief that money is easy to make. That I'm solid on. I know money's easy to make, and I know you don't have to work hard to get money. But I've been having a heck of a time just finding work. And I believe it's through my speaking. I've been speaking to the fact of, I can't find a job. And I think that that's what I'm reinforcing. So I've started doing tapping and with videos, and I started listening to Bob Proctor and doing positive affirmations. And now I have 2 jobs coming up. So why I'm here today is because I have an interview on Wednesday for the highest paying job I will ever have had. So
that's excellent.
Then I'm in second place for another really good paying job also. I've got a 90% and I'm second in line for that one. So I really would like to have this one on Wednesday, but I got a lot of anxious stuff around that, and I don't want to procrastinate and not prepare myself for it. So.
Yeah. And so the question is, what is underlying the scrolling? Like, what are you avoiding by scrolling? And it does become a habit. It's just like smoking, you got to kind of have your social media fixed if you do it a lot. Or like for me, sometimes games, I'll be like, put the games away,
Yeah.
but it's there's something going on underneath that if you maybe sat I have a couple of ways that when procrastinating starts to come up, like, oh, I really want to reach for my phone or something. There are a couple of things that you can do. Tapping is definitely one of them. And tapping is kind of a long-term impact as well. But it's really just asking yourself some questions, like being present in your body, bringing yourself into your body. And you can do that by taking deep breaths, by patting your legs, especially if you pat them like opposite arms like this. That helps to integrate the different sides of your brain.
Your screen froze up. You're frozen. So
am I still?
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, there you are. You're back. So what about tapping the legs?
Tapping the legs or even the arms, and tap like using the opposite arms, like on the, because it kind of it gets the left and right brain connected. So bring yourself into your body, breathing deeply, and then you can literally ask yourself, why do I want to put this off right now? It's very basic, but it's getting in touch with what is the discomfort. And we don't often think to just ask ourselves that. We don't often we take our brain, whatever our brain's telling us, kind of like, oh, okay, like that's a fact or something, or, oh, I had this thought, so I must follow it or something. But we can actually question our thoughts. We can ask ourselves, why am I wanting to put this off? What feelings am I feeling? And whatever they are, why am I uncomfortable? Why am I afraid? Why am I feeling lack of confidence? And then question them. Is this true? Is it really going to take a long time? Like if your thought is, oh, it's going to take too long, I don't want to do it. So is it really going to take a long time? And then you can even question it, take it one more step, which is like, well, what if I got it started and then get as much done as I can and I can finish it later? You just question it. If you're feeling like, well, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it. I think I'm going to screw up. Question it. Am I really going to screw up? What if I screw up? What's the worst thing that can happen? Am I going to die? Am I going to become homeless? And am I going to start eating out of a dumpster? And that sounds strange to go like to that extreme, but it actually helps your brain reset. It actually helps your brain go, well, of course not. Of course I'm not going to die. Of course I'm not going to be eating out of a dumpster. And so, okay, well, what could happen then? Well, I might have to redo it. Or, well, I might have to apologize. Or, well, I might have to, I might fail and have to, and I hate to fail, but it just means I just have to do it again. So it's just like this training your brain to start thinking that the danger is not as dangerous as it seems. That it's not as unsafe as it appears to be. And that's really where the procrastination comes from. Like let's take the fear of criticism. Sometimes some people might procrastinate because they don't want to be criticized. And that could be because they had very critical parents growing up, or, a certain time in their life when they were criticized and it just kind of hurt their soul and they really never want to be criticized ever again. And so it can just paralyze them in terms of wanting to even try something new, or to step out of their comfort zone, or to say anything out loud because someone could criticize them back. With money, Fear of failure is, of course, a huge one, but fear of success is too. And what was I going to say about the fear of criticism? So so if you have fear of criticism, and so you're like, well, I don't want to do this thing because my significant other could criticize me, or you may have your own self-critical voice in your head, or your parent, your parent may not even still be alive, but you may still be hearing their criticism. And so if you try something and fail, you're going to be criticized, and that is a deeper belief that it's helpful to do, like tapping on or some other work on. But in the meantime, you can question yourself again, like, okay, if I get criticized, how can I deal with that? How will I feel if I get criticized? If I how can I make myself, how would I respond? Like if you had something set where you would respond like, oh, thank you for your input, where you're not like responding in like challenging them or being aggressive, but you're also not accepting their criticism as truth or as something that you need to act on. You can just say, thank you for your input. So this is part 2 of our master class that we got interrupted in. And so thank you guys for coming back. I really appreciate it. So in this right now, I'd like to talk about what is EFT tapping. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's been around since the 1980s. It came out of something that started in the 1970s called thought field therapy, and then it was simplified and made into this form called Emotional Freedom Techniques. And we call it tapping because we literally tap on the meridian points in our bodies. And it has over 150 studies of what's called energy psychology, of which EFT tapping is part of it, that show the efficacy and the effectiveness of tools like EFT tapping. And I think it's funny because honestly, I have no idea how it works. I just know it really works. And what it does is it helps the limbic system, which is where we store our memories and where our brain tries to keep us safe. And it just helps to rewire that and disconnect the emotional charges and the underlying kind of limiting beliefs that we have when we go through an experience, especially a traumatic one. Most of them, like when I work with my clients, most of the experiences happen either between 3 to 5 and 12 and 13, but it can happen, of course, at any age. And so let's see. Let me think if there's anything else I want to talk about in terms of general EFT tapping. Well, now I'm going to walk through how to do it, but then you don't have to remember all the tapping points and everything because we're actually going to do it together. So you always start with a setup statement. And when you say your setup statement, you tap on the side of your hand. And it can be either hand, left or right, 2 or 3 fingers, or just tapping just below the joint with the little finger. And the setup statement always starts with even though. And then you say the issue that you're talking about, and then you end with a statement that says, this is what's going on with me, and that's what it is. It is what it is. And the statement I usually use is, I deeply love and completely accept myself. You can also say, I'm open to becoming peaceful around this, or just simply, it is what it is, whatever you want to say. So when you're saying what the issue is, you actually say what's the negative thing. And if you are an affirmation person, it's okay to say the negative thing because you're just telling your brain, this is what we're working on. And then after you say your setup statement, you do a round of tapping on meridian points in your body. And not all EFT tapping practitioners start at the top of the head, but I start at the top of the head. It's how I was trained. And then you go to the top of the eye, which is on the eyebrow, right next to the nose. And then you do the side of the eye, under the nose, under the eye, under the nose, the crease of the chin. So just below the collarbone. So like my collarbone's right here, and then there's just this little soft spot underneath it. And that's where you tap. It's right by the thymus gland, which is a master gland in your body. Now you won't be able to see me do this, but the next one I use is under the bottom of the ribs. And again, not all EFT tapping practitioners use the bottom of the ribs, but because it's associated with the liver and spleen meridians, I like using the bottom of the ribs. And then you go under the arm, which is just like 3 or 4 inches below your armpit. Then the top of the wrist, which is just below the joint with the hand, the bottom of the wrist, and then you go to the top of the head. So while you're tapping on these points, you are talking about the issue that you're addressing, and you're trying as hard as you can to cover everything that how you feel, what you see, what you smell, whatever it is, whatever that issue is. And after you tap on kind of the negative aspects of it, basically when you kind of run out of things to say or you feel a shift or something, then you can go into what's called a reframe. And the reframe is when you're just giving your brain and your body a different way to see the situation. Like you can say, I want to come to a calm and peaceful place around this, or maybe this is true, or I've done hard things before. And so you're just giving your body and your brain a different way to see it in a more positive way. So any questions? Miss anything, Kat, that you can see? No? You're on mute. So is there any questions?
My bad habit. I thought you could read my lips. No, I haven't ever seen the tapping on the bottom of the rib. So it's on the side of the bottom of the rib?
No, just in front.
Oh, okay. And I'd never seen the wrist or the back of the hand or whatever. Wow. Okay.
Okay. Jeff, any questions? And we'll learn by doing it.
Yeah, my only question is, how do you remember, each place? Maybe my memory's going, but that would be hard to remember.
We'll do it enough. And I do have a handout that shows the tapping points. Maybe if you guys, we're ending up on our hour. Are you guys able to go a few minutes over so we can do enough tapping? Or yeah? Okay, I appreciate it. So we'll go a little bit over, and then if you can stay on, then I'll share the handout too. Okay, so let's do some tapping on money beliefs make you procrastinate. And it can be whatever belief that you have can trigger your procrastination. Right. So just follow along with me. Tap where I tap. Speak out loud what I say, with one caveat, which is if I say something and something is more true for you, then say what's true for you. Like if I was ever to say I'm really angry and you're hurt, you would say I'm hurt. And if something comes up for you, go ahead and say that out loud. I may keep going, but you can always catch up. Okay. So let's start with our the side of our hand and our setup statement. Even though I have some subconscious money beliefs, and they can trigger me to want to avoid taking certain actions. Sometimes I just procrastinate because of them. I deeply love and completely accept myself. Top of the head. Money is a big deal in our society. And top of the eye. And we get our money beliefs from when we, excuse me for tripping over my own tongue. We get our money beliefs before we're consciously aware. Side of the eye. We get them from our family, Under the eye from society. Under the eye from experiences we have. Oh no. Oh, good. Okay. I think I unfroze again. On the chin. I know I have some underlying money beliefs that are not supportive. On the chin, on the collarbone. And they can cause me to have feelings of discomfort. Side of the under the ribs, bottom of the ribs, anxiety. Under the arm, fear. Top of the wrist, self-doubt. Bottom of the wrist. And I don't even know it consciously. Top of the head. So when it's time to make a decision around money, top of the eye, or to take a certain action, side of the eye, like prepare for an interview, under the eye, I'll put it off. Under the nose, it feels safer to put it off than to do it right now. On the chin, it helps me feel comfortable now. On the chin. The discomfort is greater than my belief that I can do this thing well. Bottom of the ribs. It overrides my desire to get it done. Under the arm. It even overrides that I know it's going to cause problems if I delay. It feels like I can't help it. It feels like I have to procrastinate. Top of the head. I forget that I can question these thoughts. Top of the eye. I forget that the feelings in my body are just feelings. Side of the eye, they're just messengers. Under the eye, I can ask what the message is from those feelings. Under the nose, but I don't have to act on them. On the chin, I have much more control than I think I do. On the collarbone, I have much more control than I give myself credit for. Bottom of the ribs. I like the idea that my future self will thank my current self. Under the arm. So when I'm sitting in that interview, top of the wrist, and I feel confident and knowledgeable, bottom of the wrist. I can thank I'll be able to thank who I am today for preparing. Top of the head. If I am looking at my retirement account, top of the eye, I can picture my 65-year-old self. Not for you, Jeff, I know, but I know you're retired already, but even your 90-year-old self, you're making decisions today that are going to affect your future. And I'm talking away, but so you don't have to say all this, but my future self, whatever age, can thank my current self. Delayed gratification is not a big thing in our society. Under the eye. In fact, we're told constantly to buy. Under the nose, we're constantly told we should be doing more. We should have more. On the chin. But I'm willing to trying to think of the right word. I'm willing to I'm sorry, I just can't think of it. So let me think. I'm willing to be present with my discomfort. On the collarbone, I'm willing to question my thoughts. Bottom of the ribs, and not react or act on them. Under the arm for the benefit of my future self. I'm capable of this. And then you just stop. If there's anything else that comes up for you, you can just keep tapping. You know what I forgot? I do remember what I forgot, Kat. I knew there was something. Before we started, we were supposed to get an intensity level. Yes. So before you start tapping, you ask, okay, given how I feel about what I'm tapping on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being no emotional charge and 10 being highly intense, what number would I give that? And so let's say you started at an 8. And then after you do tapping, let's say you get down to a 4. So then you ask yourself, what's still there? Why do I still feel this way? What's still bothering me? And then you do some tapping on that, whatever else comes up. And you can just keep tapping until you get to a 0. So Kat, given that we forgot to do that at the beginning, where would you say you are now? Yeah.
I actually caught it. I would say I was about at an 8, and I'd say I am about a 3 or 4 now. But so I need to keep working on it, and I feel a little better.
Good.
More calm.
Is there something specifically when you think about the interviews that come up for you?
So when you were gone, we were discussing it. They're gonna have me go in, and you have to sit there for a half an hour and write on a subject, and I don't know what that subject is. So I should probably tap on that. I don't know what the subject is, right? And then no matter what the subject is, I'm prepared for it, right?
Yeah.
And work that out. And then after that, they give you the interview questions, and you could look at them for a half an hour and prepare for them. So yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, you can tap on the anxiety around that, and also to kind of tap into your body, the idea that you know yourself, and this is a conversation. You're just having a conversation with them. You're just sharing who you are and what you know to be true for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
There's really nothing to worry about. It's just I let myself get going, and then once I get going, I'm really good at accelerating it.
And tapping is great at like stopping the spinning, right? Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're a Reiki master too. I have a 2nd degree Reiki, but I never use it.
Oh, that is a great way before you go into the interview, to give yourself some Reiki.
Yeah.
Because it centers you in your body, and it centers your energy. It aligns your energy so that you can be really present and aligned when you're walking into that. So that's a great thing to do.
Yeah, maybe I should get back on that. Huh? Do you do a lot of these classes?
I do once a month. I do a free masterclass, and I have. I'm going to send out the email with the link to the recording. I'll smoosh the two recordings together, and I'll have a link to the other ones. And I've been focusing on procrastination because I have a new program that I've got coming up on procrastination. It's an online tapping program, and it covers those 16 things that I told you guys about earlier. And that's why I've been really focusing on procrastination the last 3-4 months. And I'm so close to getting my program done. I'm in the testing phase.
Nice.
And I can't wait to get it out. Yeah. So, Jeff, your thoughts on
a test bunny.
Yeah.
I was aware of just being after tapping less in my head and more calm is the only way I can think to say it. Just more at ease or something. So that's what I'm aware of.
Yeah, it's interesting because even if you don't have the specific problem that we're tapping on, like sometimes I've done group tapping and I'll tap on somebody specifically for like 10 minutes and still have other people tap on it, even if it's not their problem. They, like you said, they still get the benefits of the tapping. And sometimes they even are like, they have aha moments that come to them that just are like, oh, that's what's been in my brain. That's what I've been believing, and be able to tap that out, even though we're not even really specifically, talking out loud about that specific problem. I wrote some books they're actually for parents of teenagers, and I wrote the first book in 10 days, and they're tapping books. And so I wrote like 24 tapping scripts for this book in 10 days. And of course, I'm tapping, trying to write out the scripts. Jeff, I can't tell you what a shift it made in my body just by doing the tapping that way. I felt both grounded and present, and yet highly energetic, just like nothing could bother me. Nothing, and it lasted for like 2 weeks. I like anything that happened, people cutting me off, nothing, just, it was like, it's a very powerful tool, and it can be used really on a multitude of things. There's a lot of studies that show it works with depression, anxiety, PTSD. Like one study showed that 84% of veterans in the study had either complete or partial remittance of their PTSD symptoms. Even physical issues, because as you know, a lot of the physical issues that we have are related to emotional and psychological belief systems and issues. And so I know that, like, I even tapped with somebody one time. She had sprained her ankle, and we did tapping on your ankle is how you move forward in life. It's bending you forward. And so we did tapping on where does she feel stuck and unable to move forward in her life. And afterwards, her ankle didn't hurt her anymore.
Wow.
A lot of things that EFT can be used on. Let's see, what was the other thing I was going to talk about? Sugar cravings, food, sometimes even weight loss, because sometimes we hold on to weight for reasons other than physical. It can be for safety. It can be, for self-worth issues. There's a lot of things around weight even that tapping can be beneficial with. So yeah, it's a really cool little tool.
Thank you.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. One study showed that cortisol, the stress hormone cortisol, was reduced 43% in the subjects that did tapping versus the subjects that just did talk therapy. And so it helps the body regulate stress hormones as well. That's the one I wanted to talk about. And I think that's maybe where that feeling of more calmness in our body comes from.
Yeah. When you said grounded, that's what made most sense to me too, or described how I felt.
Nice. Okay. Well, I felt like I was kind of all over the board today, but hopefully it was helpful.
It was.
And it was such a pleasure to meet both of you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.